Black America should be very upset about what went on today. What this process did is shown that Black lives do not matter in Collin County. It showed clearly that a judge interfered in this process. It showed very clearly that a Black boy was allowed not one Black soul on a jury. An all white jury convicted him in 2 to 3 hours. You say I'm upset? Hell yeah, I'm upset. I respected this process, but we're going to fight like hell to make sure that Collin County know that Karmelo Anthony is not going to go away.
First things first, let me say this. Karmelo Anthony's a goddamn hero. Because no matter what that judge and jury did inside that courtroom, he exercised his God-given rights to defend himself and showed every foundational Black American around the world that what God gives you, no racist YT can take it away.
So I want to juxtapose the Karmelo Anthony verdict and the Rick Child verdict to have a discussion about how we understand fear in this country. Not to try to frame them as identical. I know how y'all like to do, but I want to highlight the role, the unique role that fear plays in both of these cases. When people are afraid of Black kids, that fear by default is rational in this society. But when Black kids are afraid, their fear has to be reasonable, gotta be rational, measured. Their fear has to be convenient. 14-year-old Cyrus Carmack Belton was chased from a store and shot in the back. Rick Child's defense was that he was scared for his son, and a jury acquitted him. A grown man's fear after chasing a Black child was treated as enough to shoot him in the back. But when Karmelo Anthony's defense argued that he acted in a split second out of fear after being confronted, that fear was rejected. Again, I'm not saying the cases are identical. I'm asking, who gets to be afraid? Scholars Michael Dumas and Joseph Nelson argue that Black boyhood is unintelligible in America. They argue that Tamir Rice was not seen as a 12-year-old playing. Trayvon was not seen as a 17-year-old scared because a grown man was following him. Their childhood, their fear was meaningless and subordinate to the fear of Blackness within the white imagination. Research explains why. Black boys are often perceived as older and less innocent than white boys. That is what is known as adultification. It means Black children are treated as older, less innocent, more threatening, less deserving of protection than what they actually are. In Between the World and Me, Ta-Nehisi Coates writes about Black fear as physical and inherited, the reality of being raised in a country where Black children learn early that their bodies can be misread and punished. So when we talk about reasonable fear, we need to be honest. Childhood is supposed to come with room to be scared, but Black children are denied that room. If they run, they're suspicious. If they stand still, then they're threatening. If they defend themselves, then they're violent. But anytime anybody else is scared, a Black child has to deal and endure the weight of the white gaze. The jury in Karmelo's case didn't feel that Karmelo's fear was reasonable. The legal system decides whose fear gets dignified. And too often, Black kids are old enough to be feared, but never innocent enough to be afraid.
See, here's the thing about YT supremacy. It's irrational. And so I want to give a pro tip to all my brothers and sisters watching. Don't even try to understand it or wrap your mind around it, because you never will. These people will bend reality to fit their narrative. That's why you never see me going back and forth with these people, because they're really just wasting your time and leading you down the road to nowhere. They'll set a precedent, and then when that precedent is met, they'll act like that precedent never happened. So they'll let Rick Child chase a baby out the store, pew him in the back, and tell you it's self-defense. They'll let George Zimmerman follow a child around a neighborhood in Trayvon Martin. The police telling them don't follow him. He still will. And then here's another thing. Haven't we been hearing from them, just use your fist? Trayvon Martin uses his fist, and the other guy pews him and unalives him, and they tell you that's self-defense. Daniel Penny sneaks up behind somebody on a train before the guy just using words chokes him out, unalives him. They tell you it's self-defense. We say, okay, That's the precedent, right? That's the precedent, right? Karmelo Anthony sitting down, being approached by a group of people, defends himself from the threat, and he gets 35 years. YT supremacy is irrational. You're not going to be able to wrap your mind around it. Just understand, they're boldly practicing it when you look at a case like Karmelo Anthony's.
Media is intentionally doing dishonest reporting about what is going on in the trial of Karmelo Anthony. They're conveniently not going into the details and the inconsistencies in the witness's testimony, but luckily I was able to find somebody on Reddit who was actually detailing what each of the witnesses were testifying to. So allow me to paint you the picture of what I believe actually happened. I went through each of the witnesses' testimonies, and it's very clear that not everybody had a clear picture of what happened. So on the day of the stabbing, it started pouring down rain, which caused a delay in the track meet. Very common for athletes, and each of the schools seemingly brought their own tents and set them up so that people could sit underneath them. Karmelo's coach testified that they did not have a tent, that it was actually coming later with a second bus, and they didn't have enough students to justify bringing a tent at that moment, so they didn't have a place to shelter from the rain. Anthony apparently was friends with one of the kids from the tent. Several people saw he and Anthony dap up, greeting each other, and seemingly Karmelo Anthony, while he was in the tent, made some joke about "y'all are ass," referring to their football team. The friend, who weirdly enough denied kind of how close his relationship was with Karmelo Anthony, said that it was a joke. And by the way, Karmelo Anthony is not only the captain of the track team, but he was also captain of the football team. His senior year had been cut short because he had had an injury, a very severe one, and his shoulder was messed up. He had to wear a sling for part of the year. They also don't mention that Karmelo Anthony was already in the tent before the Metcalf twins entered it. It wasn't until the Metcalf twins came to the tent that they seemed to be the ones who had a problem with him being there. And it's pretty inconsistent across the 9 witnesses from the incident about where Austin's brother even was during this. Some said that he was right next to his brother. Some said that he was in the back of the tent. Some said that he was a couple bleachers down. Witness said that they heard Anthony say, "I'm a nobody," when students were asking why he was under their tent. And there doesn't seem to be any consistency on what the words Anthony was saying. And while they're trying to say that Anthony is the aggressor, the person that he was in there seeing literally thought it was funny, and he took out his phone and pretended to record it. I personally don't believe that. No teenager just pretends to record things, especially since one of the witnesses said that after the incident, students were passing around a phone and looking at Anthony's Instagram page, which doesn't make sense. You wouldn't just pass the phone around. You would just ask for the handle and you would go to his Instagram page. What I think they were passing around was the video. I think there was a video and they deleted it because it would have looked bad on Austin. I say that.
Come on, guys. You know good and dang well, if that video would have supported Karmelo Anthony being guilty, we all would have seen it. TMZ, they get every single video possible. All of a sudden, in this case, this video, nobody can find it. Come on now. Nobody can find that video because it's going to show Karmelo Anthony's innocence.
Because this person that Anthony was talking to didn't step up and say to the guys, "Hey, he's with me, we're just hanging out talking." And Karmelo's lawyer had to show a bunch of photos of the two together hanging out. They even hang out 3 times in a 3-week period, so they knew each other pretty well. It's clear that Austin specifically did not want Anthony in the tent and was ganging up on him. I think they all were. Because both Anthony and Metcalf were frustrated and escalated, according to one of the witnesses. And mind you, there is no policy that these kids can't be in each other's tent. And in fact, there are supposed to be coaches at every tent because it's a bunch of teenagers have nothing to do. So where was the adults, in my opinion? And it didn't start out as a big deal because Austin Metcalf sat down on the bleacher in front of Anthony, which sounds honestly aggressive. He came in, he started antagonizing him, he sat down next to him, they started calling each other bitch. And nobody is consistent with the shoving part. Some say it was a small one-handed shove. Another witness said, and I believe this is the true story, that there was minor pushing for a couple of minutes. That both Austin Metcalf and Karmelo Anthony were angry and aggressive. Several witnesses say that they didn't believe Anthony when he was bluffing, but Metcalf and Anthony were frustrated and it escalated, and some called the shove a nudge. And one of the...
What it is it's a slave catcher mentality. A slave patrol. You get to control my black body and tell me what to do. That's the mentality that they have as a culture. Understand, I'm not saying Austin Metcalf is a one-off. There's something particularly wrong with him, but as a culture, that's how they feel about black bodies, that they get to slave patrol us, tell us where to go, when to go, and how to go. And we're supposed to sit there and take it.
Witnesses, turns out, told the cops that Anthony had told a joke and that Metcalf had pushed on Anthony in a lineman move, which is an inward and upward motion. Some of the witnesses said that both of the Metcalf brothers were ganging up on Anthony. And I think these kids have a very skewed perspective of what defending them was, because they said that Anthony said, "You're not going to move me, you're a bitch." The witness told the jurors Austin was defending us. That's not defending you. I think y'all went through a very traumatic effect, and you can't come to terms with the fact that I think your friend was the aggressor. But you can't say that he deserved it. So obviously this guy has to be the perpetrator.
I'm shocked nobody else is bringing that up. Well, I can't say nobody else, but I'm shocked it's not more pronounced. That his twin brother is right there, right? So they keep saying you have to meet force with the same level of force. But if Karmelo was thinking about swinging on Austin, right? You don't think it entered his mind that this guy who looks just like him, that's the same size as him, 215, 220 pounds, if I hit him, he might jump in?
To be his fault. It has to be a murder. Some of the kids were giving different statements to the police last year, right after it happened, like not mentioning the cursing. Another witness characterized Austin putting his hands on Karmelo as a warning. The witnesses across the board all pretty much agree that this lasted 4 to 6 minutes. If someone is harassing you for 4 to 6 minutes, as a woman, I too would be grabbing my backpack and unfolding the blade in there because things were progressing. This witness said that Austin Metcalf tried to force Anthony out. After Metcalf put his hands on him, that's when he got stabbed. If this had been an actual problem and not just a couple of kids bullying the black kid they didn't know under the tent, then they would have gone and gotten an adult that should have fucking been there to begin with. And that is very obvious on cross-examination of a witness when the lawyer said if Anthony and a friend were outside of the tent, what was wrong with that? And the witness, who was also on the football team and was part of this little group, said it was because of the proximity to the tent. But every witness who saw the stabbing said that Karmelo was sitting on the bleachers and that Metcalf was standing up and pushing him. Anthony never got out of his seat. And not only that, the wound and the blade prove that he did not even try to stab him. He just held it out and Austin went on the blade. You know how I know this? Because the blade itself is 3.5 inches long. Everyone said that Austin leaned in to push him and Karmelo stabbed him. There's no dispute about that. Anthony was sitting, Austin was standing over him, getting ready to shove him, and he goes into the blade. So if the blade was 3.5 inches and the wound was 2 inches deep, people, what does that mean? It means he could not have stabbed at him as Austin was leaning in to shove him. Austin had to have been the one who fell on the blade. I'm sorry, but it seems pretty obvious to me. Like, this is self-defense. How could Anthony be the aggressor if he never fucking moved from his seat? That is literally stand your ground. And all of this could have been avoided if he had just minded his own business or gotten his coach. And the prosecutor kind of proves my point when he asked the doctor if there were any defensive wounds on Austin, and there were none. He already had his hands out to push it. He crossed that physical boundary and fell on that knife. There is never a situation when a person is sitting down and a person is standing up, physically impeding you, that person is not the aggressor. And if this was the opposite, this wouldn't have even been a trial. I have a feeling the defense is going to tell us that there is a documented history of aggression with Austin. Let's face it, the prosecution is resting on racism in this case. That's exactly why they struck.
Look, this whole situation is a tragedy. Nobody wants to see anybody lose their life. But at the same time, Karmelo Anthony has no duty to retreat. He has every right to stay there and stand his ground. And he obviously wasn't trying to unalive him. So to give him the charge that they gave him is clearly railroading. They're clearly trying to send a message that they don't want us protecting ourselves against them.
Karmelo Anthony was found guilty today. And I understand a lot of people are upset. A lot of people are mad. A lot of people are disappointed. Even some people feel spiritually defeated behind this, right? And I totally understand where you're coming from. But let me say this, y'all. Karmelo Anthony will be just fine. I promise he will be fine. Trust me, he will be just fine. And I never give guarantees on my videos or nothing like that when it comes to certain stuff. But I had an opportunity to go up there when the court was going on, when the trial was going on. That's why I've been making a lot of videos since the trial started. Got a chance to link up with some of my brothers and sisters up there, man. That was inside the trial. We all talked about it. They gave me all the layout of the game, what's happening, what they were doing to prepare just in case it is a guilty verdict. And I still feel confident, even if it would have been not guilty or guilty, okay? Let me first and foremost say that. I know a lot of people seeing all these racist comments from YT people. Y'all gonna see a lot of that. Don't let that get y'all upset. I know it stings a little bit when they say little stuff like Karmelo need to go to jail for the rest of his life. Karmelo deserves the chair, whoop-de-woo, whoop-de-woo. But guess what, black people? Let me tell y'all something. And this is some real shit. And I always said this in the beginning. Even if Karmelo got to do 30 years in prison, his mama and daddy, family and friends can still see him. They can still touch him, hug him. They can still do that. But that Metcalf family, they got to visit their son in the grave. Think about that. They got to visit their son in the grave. Follow me on this. That twin got to live the rest of his life knowing that his twin brother is gone. All because of him. See, he's the cause of the reason why his brother got his feet up in the ground right now. He's the cause of that. See, there's no telling what his mental gonna be like throughout life. Ain't no telling he's gonna get on that meth if he's not already on it right now. Okay? The mom and dad gotta go visit their son in the grave because their son won't be a bully. See, Karmelo Anthony family, they still can see their child if he gotta do time, which I don't believe he's gonna do time. But let's say he gotta do time. They can still visit him. And guess what? He got an end date. He might get out in the next 6, 7 years. You never know. And he can still start his life over. But that white boy, he ain't going to be able to see the light of day no more. Only thing he's seeing is the top of a casket. And he's going to have to climb out of dirt and be resurrected by Jesus Christ himself. So don't let these YT people get under y'all skin. That's what I want to tell y'all, family. Don't let them get under your skin. We know how the system of white supremacy work in America. We know how Texas worked. We knew that everything was stacked up against him. We knew there was biracials that was testifying against him. We knew there was young coons in the making testified against him. We know that the white people that was on the jury and there was immigrants on the jury pool too. You know these people was going to be anti-black. We know that. We saw the facts of the case. We knew Karmelo acted in self-defense because Karmelo had every God-given right to protect himself. If he felt like he was in danger, they never proved it. They never proved that he thought about this beforehand. They didn't prove none of that. But guess what? He will be just fine, y'all. I promise he's going to be just fine. It's okay to be upset, but keep in mind, Karmelo mother and daddy, family and friends gonna be able to see their child. Don't let these white folks get under y'all skin. Just remind them that the Metcalf family got to visit their son and their brother at a graveyard site. Karmelo Anthony family, this boy still got a chance to be free. All right? But anyway, I love y'all so much. Shout out to the Karmelo Anthony family, man. I'm still going to stand 10 toes with the family. And my black American family, don't ever hesitate to protect yourself from white folks, okay? You have every God-given right to protect yourself. America don't want us to protect ourselves from these people, but you have every God-given right to. Y'all have a good one.
That's why I wanted to end off with this video, because I want to give all my foundational black Americans the same message. Keep your head up. Do not let these people get you down. Use Karmelo Anthony as motivation. Anytime you think about spending your dollar with somebody from another ethnic group, think about Karmelo and say, nah, I'm putting it back in my pocket and I'm only spending it with my people. Use Karmelo Anthony as an example to build ourselves up and keep the energy to ourselves and know that we have no friends. All we have is each other. So let's use Karmelo Anthony as a galvanizer. Let him galvanize us to do better. Let him galvanize us to be better fathers, better mothers. Let him galvanize us to take away our economic power out of all of these communities. Don't let these YT people get you down with their deranged syndrome. These people are crazy. Don't even address them. Again, I told you guys in the beginning, they're trying to talk in circles and lead you down a road to nowhere. They're irrational. These people are a degenerate culture, and don't let them project that off to you. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm out.